I feel like your character Jane has some of the best reactions to Frances and other people that she encounters. Like, she's not afraid to call people out on their BS, and this kind of like puzzled look she gives when people say something that may not quite add up or maybe idiotic. And I wonder how calculated you had to be with your process to have some of these reactions, and how you delivered your lines, your facial expressions, or did you just kind of allow moments to steer you?
Well, I definitely allowed moments to steer me. A lot of it was trying to be present, and connecting us, at least with the scenes with Noah, just because our chemistry
Right.
and connection was so important. But yeah, Jane is funny, and she does things like randomly punch people.
Yeah.
I mean, not randomly. In defense, I think it probably needed to happen, but yeah, Jane did seem very calculated, and she's incredibly smart. And
Yeah.
at such a young age, she really had to kind of go through this process of adultification.
Mm.
And while she's kind of struggling with the grief and loss of her mom, and so I think we're meeting her at a really interesting time, and all of the circumstances and situations that Frances and Jane get themselves into. I don't know. I tried to just like meet those situations wherever we were at,
Yeah.
and all of that really came, I think, on the day. There was a lot of, obviously, like thinking and preparing beforehand, but a lot of it was just being present, because it was that kind of reactionary thing that she had going.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I'm glad you brought up punches. I don't want to spoil what happens, but that has to be one of the best punches thrown in a movie, just for how unexpected it is and what happens in the aftermath. But it was great. So I hope you're proud of that moment, at least. But I'm going to ask something that I asked Noah earlier. We talked about how this is a great movie about fatherhood and like just the relationship between Frances that Frances has with Jane. Like, it's so truthful and honest. And like, Francis, while not a perfect dad, he's a compelling one and a real one who has like certain complexities, and he's asking questions like a good dad would. So I would say that we could throw him in the hat of great cinema dads. Like, would you agree? And what would you say are some of the great cinema dads or TV dads who kind of taught you about the realness and the I guess the real and complex love a father can have for their child?
Yeah, I would put Frances in that category for sure. What I loved about Frances was, I feel like there's this time, in our lives as adults, where we realize our parents are human too,
Yeah.
and they are going through everything that we're about to experience as adults, and there's this really weird shift that happens, I feel like, for a lot of people, because you
Yeah.
start kind of looking as at your parents in this more equal way, which I feel like is where we see Francis, because we know his past, and we learn his past and what he's gone through, and I think that he handles it to the best that he can. Like, everybody's just trying their best. I feel
Yeah.
like, I don't know a thing about parenting, but I feel like at the end of the day, that's what happens, and that's what you got to do. But I don't know. I watched Paper Moon for
Mm.
specifically before we shot this, and obviously we saw a lot of similarities in that, between Francis and Jane's relationship, but just that kind of parent-child relationship just comes to mind, because they learn things through these ridiculous situations that they get themselves into. And so yeah, I likened Francis a lot to Paper Moon, and Francis and Jane a lot, and I know Noah did as well, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. When you were reading the script, were you surprised at how like nuanced the film is. Like it has these exciting components that cause, like genre fans like me to kind of turn up and perk up a little bit. But this is a film that strongly believes in very human activities like connection. And what's so cool is that the genre moments are kind of like teased, they're brief, but they paint such a large world. Like, where does your own curiosity take you with wanting to know more about this world, what it looks like beyond where Francis and Jane go together? Like, if this were to continue and Noah continue to write or expand this world, would you want it to pick up with Francis and Jane, or would you like to see another family or a group of friends living in this world?
I love this world so much, and initially I think I picked up on the same things that you just said, in the sense that there's these subtleties, tonally, but also specifically with Francis and Jane. They are vampires trying to practically live in a world, but they're also going through the same things, like isolation and separation and grief and loss that we all go through. But it's not really thrown in your face. It's dealt with in a way that we do, or at least, I'm speaking for myself in the sense that I throw humor and deflect everything in that way. So I think that it's pretty spot on in that sense. But we joke a lot about seeing where Francis and Jane would go, and I think what I love most about them is their dynamic in the power shift that happens specifically in just this story. So I'd love to see how that plays out. Like, where is Francis when Jane goes to college as she grows up? Because she's gonna grow older, and we're gonna see how their dynamic changes. I would like to continue to keep seeing that. I was wondering about it all the time. So
yeah, because you do have a line in the movie during an argumentative scene where you tease the possibility of what the reality would be beyond this. But I just feel like Noah would kind of do things that are very unexpected to kind of go against a lot of what that. So something I feel like would happen to kind of shake that up a little bit from what is said in that scene. But that's what's so cool about it. Like, it's just these little moments of dialogue where you're like, huh, yeah, that's right, or that could be where it goes. So it was interesting to me that it has that. If he doesn't do that, I feel like he needs to do a movie about like mummies or Frankenstein, because after his short film within Scare Package Mister with werewolves and vampires, it only seems natural that he needs to be exploring other worlds just like this.
Yeah, keep on the supernatural train for sure. He's definitely very good at it, and I love the practicality in the supernatural world. That's the modern. There's the seeing. What was so cool about this for me was there's the modern take on how vampires exist in the world, and there's so much opportunity. There's so much opportunity for fun, quirky, weird ways to make it work.
Yeah, and you're no stranger to these kinds of worlds either, with Bloodthirsty Hearts and Teen Wolf. So I only expect that whatever he may write, you probably would just be so excited to go into it, whatever it may be.
Yeah, absolutely. You know it. Thank you, and thank you for shout out to Bloodthirsty Hearts too. Yeah. I love so obviously I love all of the supernatural stuff. I think as much as we can try and take ourselves out of this world, and find some relief, the better. So yeah, I'm game. Let's do more supernatural stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I have to bring up this really amazing shot in this film, and I don't want to say what happens within it, so I'll be vague, but the camera is tight on you, and then a punk song kicks in, and the camera pulls back to reveal more, and it just sends the mind racing with the possibilities of what it may have went down and how it would have looked. Because the cool thing about Blood Relatives, in addition to the other things that we've talked about, is how it leaves big moments to kind of, or get, big moments to happen off screen, so we can kind of color it in ourselves and eat up the results. Did you discuss a lot of those off-screen happenings with Noah to see how Jane may have actually handled it, or does that mystery kind of drive the fun of the film for you as an actor?
I think I had to fill in some spaces for sure, especially with that specific scene you're talking about. It's oddly enough, that was like one of the most emotional moments for me, for Jane. Yeah, like I still feel it. For some reason, I think it's because, that's that specific place in the film is, it's a major moment of growth for her, and also a lot of shock for somebody so young to be doing what she's doing. And it's very new. And I think I had to go through some of those motions, at least in my imagination, to be able to get to the place, even though we're not fully seeing them and not showing them. Those are experiences that she has lived through. So I kind of had to, I don't remember I think we definitely talked about how we got there, so that we know, I wasn't gonna show up and come at it from a place of like, whoa, what are you doing? So yeah, it was a little mix of both, but I love those moments too. I think leaving it up to the imagination for the audience is really cool.
Yeah. With that moment specifically, what was involved technically with like trying to achieve it? Because it seemed like the song was already picked, and like how it flows matches the beats of how it's cut. Or was it, do you have any insight into that? Or
that was a full on, Patrick and Noah and moment in post. Our editor Patrick, I couldn't have even imagined that song playing, actually. So it was quite like a surprise for me too. Whenever we shot it, it was all like, it was very technical in the physical sense of placement, and that it was just that shot. It wasn't like we were getting different angles of anything. It was literally just that. So I had no clue. I just felt like there was one way that Jane felt, and that's all that was kind of being portrayed. It was very like straight to the point.
Yeah. Well, it was well done. I didn't get the chance to tell Noah about it, so I did want to at least bring it up. But we're out of time. But I have so many more things I'd love to talk to you about. But please, I really hope that you're proud of this work, because I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to spread the word.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate that, Preston. It was nice talking to you.